Everyone. Welcome to my LinkedIn life. I'm Fatima El-Wakeel. I create the right strategies and um, ecosystems for successfully scaling data and analytics. And this is really my mission, is to spread the knowledge and support executives to be able to do that. For some reason, my other LinkedIn live that I just went through a few minutes ago, it didn't go, it was not recorded. So I'm just doing this again now in the hope that it kind of goes live. I think it is live now on LinkedIn. So, as I said, I'm live now on LinkedIn, Twitter, and on YouTube. In today's session, I'm going to discuss the Agile Triangle. This is the last session in this season. So, I'm not going to go live in December. So it's a it's a holiday month. So I'm just going to take it off, and hopefully I'll start again next season in 2022 in January. You can also watch this on replay on the three main platforms: YouTube, LinkedIn, and on Twitter. And equally, I'll be putting it on the podcast. So, in this session, I'm just going to cover the Agile Triangle. So, let me share my screen. I hope it works this time because for some reason it didn't work before. Yes, I think it's working. So I hope you can see my screen now. So I got a question last month after the Agile session with L'Oreal about the difference between traditional project management and Agile methodology. So in this session, I'm just going to cover them in more details. Um, I think the challenge with the traditional method is that you have a scope and it's kind of fixed, and you try to deliver it. And business changes because a project can go on for 3 months or 6 months, but the needs change, the strategy change, and that's where the problem comes. It hits the business because you're just fixated on the scope and you don't meet your stakeholders as much. While in the Agile methodology, it's a bit different. Um, the scope is kind of not really fixed, it's estimated. And you meet with your stakeholder often, depending on the sprints. So if we look at the iron triangle, and you can see more in the there is a link to the article I put here, where it covers it in more depth. And so this is an article I wrote for the Strategic Finance magazine. I'll put the link in the comments after the session. So I'll just explain quickly the difference between traditional and agile. So we have three main aspects when we look at projects. We have the scope, we have the budget, and we have the time. In the traditional method, the scope, as I mentioned, the scope is kind of fixed. You know what you are delivering. So, for example, you agree with the marketing team that you have a visualization of 6 KPIs, and you're going to deliver that in 3 months. You give a budget estimate and a time estimate. That means that during the 6 month, because obviously it is a data project, we don't know what we don't know. We don't know the data. We don't know the quality of the data. We don't know the sources and the joining between the sources. Data and analytics is not as simple. And that's the challenge, where you just give an estimate of a budget and a time. Um, and you say, well, we're going to deliver those 6 KPIs in 3 months. And you make sure that that's the scope. After the 3 months, or during the 3 months, maybe in a month and a half, you do like a mid project check, a midpoint check, and you find that, you know what, we can't deliver it because the data sources are not connected properly. We have to do more stuff, more work in the data engineering, and we might run a bit over time. So you put in more money, you run a bit over time. And that's the problem with the traditional method. In Agile, those three aspects are the same. You have still the scope, the budget, and the time. But the budget and the time are fixed. The budget, let's estimate, it's the resources that you have for the project. So you have, for example, one data engineer and one visualization person. You can't go above that. Those are the two people you have in the team, and you have to deliver with them. The time is the 3 months you agreed with the marketing team to deliver those 6 KPIs. So the 3 months are fixed. Regardless, you have to deliver something to the team by 3 months. The scope is the bit that's estimated. And again, the reason why it is estimated is we don't know what we don't know. We don't know the data. We don't know the quality. We don't know the problems that we'll go through when we're trying to pull this data out and visualize it. And I'm just doing a visualization example because it can be a modeling example. You can try to, model things, for example, something for the supply chain or the engineering team. And it's even a bigger problem when you're doing that. So the scope is estimated. We say, well, you know what, in those 3 months, we're going to deliver those 6 KPIs. During those 3 months, with the issues in data, we can't deliver the 6 KPIs. We are going to deliver four of those 6 KPIs and two others. And then maybe in the second phase, we're going to deliver something else. So you start breaking the project into phases or changing it or amending the scope a bit. Um, because again, it's an estimate. And by amending the scope, I'm not saying that you're changing it because it's not really fair. You can't change the whole scope. Well, though sometimes you might have to, but again, it's depending on the needs of the business. There is an MVP, and I think I need to do another session on explaining a bit more how the scope kind of changes, and why it might lead to a scope change. But that's basically the difference between agile and traditional, in terms of the estimated and the fixed, or the iron triangle. The iron triangle is very important, and I think it was something that I struggled with when I started my agile journey. Um, because it's just you always kind of try to think it's like, oh, I just need to put more time, so maybe I'll extend the project. Well, you can't really extend the project. Or sometimes I listen to things like, oh, there is a scope creep. Well, wait, if there is a scope creep, is there a change in MVP? And those are terminologies that I think we need to go into more detail. So I'll cover that in other sessions. Um, but I think for today, um, what I'm going to do is, I just wanted to cover the iron triangle because I got many questions about the difference between both methods after the last session. And it is important. So I thought to cover it. And please let me know your thoughts. And if you have questions, that I can maybe answer in the next season, that would be brilliant. So feel free to reach out. I always enjoy like those discussions and sharing the knowledge and the questions that I get. And as I said, December would be a holiday season, so I'm not going to have a LinkedIn Live um, session. But hopefully, I'll see you again in January. And if you're watching this on replay, please still feel free to chat, send me texts, and it'd be brilliant to kind of get in touch. For the time being, enjoy the holidays, and see you again soon.